There was a time when everyone seemed to live through a screen. Now people are quietly stepping away from it and no one is really talking about the reason. But you've probably sensed it yourself. That odd weight in your chest before hitting share. That quiet whisper wondering, who am I even doing this for anymore? A new kind of silence has settled over the internet. It's not peaceful, it's unsettling. Like walking into a familiar room and finding everyone has left without a word. If you scroll long enough, you start to see the empty spaces. Accounts that were once loud, now still. People who updated every day have simply vanished. Creators who never missed a beat now post once a month or once every few. And the strangest part, it's not burnout, it's not laziness, it's not even the fear of being judged. It's something deeper and quieter, something we don't yet have a word for. For the first time in a long time, people aren't trying so hard to be seen. They're trying to feel real again. Remember when posting used to feel like fun, a photo, a thought, a moment? It wasn't content. It was just life. But then everything shifted. The platforms changed, the feeds changed, and we changed along with them. The simple act of sharing turned into a performance, a calculation, a strategy for better numbers. And somewhere along that path, every single post became a question. How will people see me? Is this good enough? Am I falling behind? Why does everyone else seem to be doing so much better? We didn't realize how heavy that weight would become. We didn't see the emotional tax we were paying for a free app, how every like felt like a tiny approval and every silence felt like a small failure. It's exhausting playing a character in your own life. Something else happened too. Something invisible and technological. The platforms became too skilled at predicting us, too good at steering us, too effective at deciding what we should see and who we should become. Your posts stopped being just memories. They turned into data streams, training material, signals for an algorithm slowly molding your identity. And people felt it. Maybe not consciously, but deep down. You could sense when a post wasn't truly you anymore. It was what the algorithm wanted you to be. We started editing ourselves for an invisible crowd, crafting versions of our lives that didn't exist, optimizing our feelings, polishing our pain, smoothing out our joy. Eventually, people began asking a dangerous question. If I'm performing all the time, then who am I when no one is watching? That single question was enough to make millions go quiet. There's another shift happening now, not online, but in real life. People are tired of comparing their inner world to everyone else's polished exterior. They're tired of feeling behind in a race nobody ever signed up for. They're tired of pretending their life is brighter than it really is. Somewhere in the last couple of years, the highlight reel broke. It stopped inspiring us. It stopped motivating us. It stopped entertaining us. Instead, it started to hurt. People don't want to prove anything anymore. They want to feel something real, connection, presence, quiet, notification-free moments that truly belong to them. The world got louder, so people went inward. Not because they're antisocial, but because they're finally admitting how draining it is to turn every moment into a public display. A new trend is emerging, and it's not about aesthetics or nostalgia or going viral. It's private, deeply private. People are keeping their big moments to themselves. Relationships, breakups, trips, milestones, failures, successes. Not because they're hiding, but because sharing no longer feels sacred. It feels transactional. There's a growing desire to take back the parts of life the internet once took away, to let memories belong to the people who actually lived them, to speak without an audience, to simply be without being constantly observed. We're moving from look at me to let me live. And honestly, that might be the healthiest change we've seen in years. But there's another layer, one that's harder to admit. Posting makes us feel vulnerable again, not because of trolls or judgment, but because it reveals something we often don't want to face. How much our life hasn't changed, how similar our days look, how ordinary we really are. People often don't post because they fear being boring, unremarkable, average. Yet ironically, nearly everyone feels the same way. We're all living similar lives, but pretending everyone else is doing something extraordinary. So we stay quiet because silence feels safer than honesty. What's replacing constant social posting isn't absence. It's invisibility. People are still online, still consuming, still scrolling, but without showing themselves. They're lurkers, ghost viewers, silent scrollers, humans who only use direct messages, story watchers who never post their own. This silent population is much larger than most realize. Maybe you're part of it. It's the invisible internet, a world where presence doesn't require a performance, a world where you can exist quietly. People aren't posting less because they're less creative. They're posting less because the cost has changed. The expectations, the pressure, the algorithms, the constant reinvention, every post now feels like a negotiation with a machine. And creators are realizing something powerful. If they don't protect their identity, the internet will reshape it for them. So they post less, think more, choose intentionally, create slowly, and speak only when they have something real to say. This isn't a decline, it's an evolution. The era of endless content is ending. The era of conscious content is beginning. After all this, the truth becomes simple. People aren't disappearing because they're tired. They're disappearing because they're waking up. Waking up to the illusion of validation, to the emptiness of comparison, to the distortion of an algorithm-shaped identity, to the exhaustion of being constantly watched, to the truth that being online isn't the same as being alive. This silence isn't a crisis. It's a correction, a recalibration of the self, a chance to rebuild who we are outside the lens of who we perform to be. Maybe this quiet isn't a sign of something breaking, maybe it's a sign of something healing. So if you've been posting less, sharing less, showing up less online, maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe you're simply reclaiming your life from the machine that once demanded all of it. The world is learning to breathe again, to be human again, to live without broadcasting every single second. Maybe the question isn't, why is nobody posting anymore? Maybe the real question is, what are we finally learning to protect? And before you go, ask yourself one more thing. When you choose to share, is it an expression or an expectation? And who might you become when you no longer need to be seen just to exist? If this reflection resonated with you, consider subscribing for more thoughts on living meaningfully in a digital world. Liking and sharing the video helps others find these conversations too.